However, men were far more flexible in this perspective. 63% said height was unimportant or very unimportant to them.
I feel like height's not important to me as a man. Actually, I'm lying. I'm lying out my ass. I don't think I could date a woman taller than me, bro.
Where you at, Berto?
Modern dating and height.
Hello, my dears. So today I would like to talk about height. There's a preference that most people have in dating that feels deeply personal yet still instinctual. But science suggests it might be less about who you are as a person and more about what we have been taught as a society of what we want. I have been reading a scholarly article called Relationship Between Height Preferences and Endorsement of Gender Norms. I'll link it down below for anybody else that's curious. So this paper looks at how height preferences in romantic partners connect to gender norms, sexism, and feminist identities. Starting off with the biology, men are on average about 7% taller than women, compared to most other primates.
Ladies watching, do y'all really care about height, bro? Like, genuinely, do y'all really care about height? And if you do, what's the ideal height? Don't give me the unrealistic. Like, what's the ideal height? Is it 6 foot? Is it 5'10", 5'6", average height, 5'9"? Because what's the average height for a man? Like 5'7"? I think realistically, to say that you're only dating 6 foot and up as a woman is kind of crazy. Like, most niggas aren't 6 foot, bro. Most niggas aren't 6 foot. And you can like, height doesn't necessarily determine a man's character. The short kings need some love too, ladies. And I'm telling y'all this as a 6'2" man. You know what I'm saying? 6'3" on a good day. 6'4" if I'm wearing some really, really thick soles and on with my shoes. The ideal height for you is like 5'1" to 5'7". Damn. Is 5'1" taller than you, Jew? You under 5 foot? No offense. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with short women, but that's a wide spectrum.
Surprisingly equal size as apes go. I thought this was interesting. The gap exists partly because tall men historically signaled something useful. A tall body was evidence that someone had been well fed, well cared for, and likely had the means to provide. Height was one of the cues our ancestors used to assess a potential mate, and that wiring has not fully switched off in our current brains. According to this paper, even in online dating, taller men don't just get more matches, but they also get more replies. There is a biological thread running here, but the data does show the preference is not universal. It doesn't read across all cultures or all.
What shoes do I like? Right now, I'm really into Converse. That's probably like my favorite shoe that I've been dailying.
Individuals, which means that there is something else shaping it as well. There's a different factor.
Appreciate the follow.
For decades,
to the family.
Researchers studied mate preferences and gender norms, focused on two things specifically: men's preferences for physical attractiveness and a woman's preference for financial resources. This pattern was consistent. And once again, guys, I am just retelling y'all what came from a scholarly article. This is not my personal opinion. The findings were that sexist men placed more importance on how their partner looked versus sexist women placed more importance on how much a partner earned. These findings go back to studies from the early 2000s. But height was largely left out of that conversation until around 2008. When a handful of studies started asking whether gender norms might be driving height preferences too. Another thing to note, human height itself, the averages are actually changing. The rapid increase in average height seen across Europe over the last century isn't thought to be genetic. It's nutrition, healthcare, and living conditions. Which means even the baseline we're measuring preferences against is shifting. In this paper, they recorded a study of where they recruited 242 heterosexual UK adults between the ages of 18 to 39. They were asked about ideal partner height, the minimum and maximum they'd accept, and how important the height was to them as a dating factor. Those answers were then cross-referenced with 3 measures: sexist attitudes, feminist attitudes, and how traditionally masculine or feminine each person identified as. According to the study, a woman's ideal partner height averaged 181 centimeters. However, men were far more flexible in this perspective. 63% said height was unimportant or very unimportant to them.
Yeah, I feel like height's not important to me as a man. I think I just wouldn't want to date someone taller than me. Now, again, shout out to my tall ladies. I think y'all are beautiful too. But just preference wise, that doesn't mean I wouldn't deal with a woman that's taller than me. Actually, I'm lying. I'm lying out my ass. I don't think I could date a woman taller than me, bro. Wait, hold on. I know you guys usually skip this part of the video, but give me 1 second. I want to put you guys on real quick on a way to make some extra money that is 100% legit. You could do it all from your phone. TesterUp is a platform that works with games to find new users just like you to test their games out. These apps and games are willing to pay new users to get on their platform because 9 times out of 10, they genuinely actually like playing the game. And the app in return ends up making money because you're playing the game that they paid you to play. I know that sounds a little bit too good to be true, but this is why I'm breaking it down for you so you understand the business behind it and how it works. TesterUp helps put money back in your pocket that these platforms are willing to pay for new users. So if you already like playing games on your phone, click the link in the description or use the QR code on the screen. You're gonna make a free account. It's completely free to do. And you can start making $10 to $20 off of games that you already love playing. This isn't a get rich quick scheme, so it's full transparency here. But if you're dedicated enough and you like playing games on your phone, there's people already making hundreds of dollars as well. Again, it's completely free to try. Use the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description. Check it out and make some extra cash. Because I'm just already so tall. But that does not mean I don't think tall women don't deserve love too. I just don't think I could do it. Would you date a dwarf? No, I would not date it. Hey, I've told this story before, bro, but I'm not gonna lie. I'll tell it again. You know how on Instagram, when you're scrolling, that they'll literally show you that your friends have liked this photo or your friends have liked this post. So one time, bro, this is so funny, bro. I don't know why, but at some point, and we can go through my For You page right now. Every time I tell this story, I do this because I promise y'all, my feed is not chop shit. Like, we can go through my Instagram feed. It's not just, oh shit. It's not just fucking ass and titties. It's, you know, my feed's pretty base. Let's see how long it takes us to get into some cheeks. Okay, first girl, and she's just doing a normal post. It took me like 5-6 scrolls. So I'm saying that to say that my feed is not chop shit. But for whatever reason, one time I was scrolling on Instagram, and for whatever reason, they recommended me a dwarf twerking. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Why the hell did Instagram recommend me a dwarf twerking, bruh? But before I could even lock in and really be like, yo, this is crazy and just keep going on with my life, somebody very close to me had liked it, bro. In 4K. In 4K, I was like, Jesus Christ. This nigga's out here liking, my partner's out here liking dwarf twerking videos. Man, so no, I would never wife a dwarf personally, even though I just think they deserve love too. But again, there's people out here that would, man.
Men above 190 centimeters had any real reluctance about dating someone else taller. Couples of where the women were taller weren't just unpreferred, but they were largely ruled out entirely. Even then, it wasn't universal. Connecting the gender norms, the researchers expected people with more traditional gender views to prefer a larger height gap between themselves and their partner. That turned out to be more complicated than we'd expect. How much taller or shorter do you want your partner to be relative to yourself? That didn't actually correlate with sexism or feminist scores, but the importance placed on height itself did. Women who said height was very important scored significantly higher on sexist attitudes and lower on feminist attitudes. Men who identified as more traditionally masculine were less willing to accept a taller partner. Being with a taller woman appeared to conflict with how they saw themselves.
I think that's fair, honestly, bro. I can sit here and very transparently say that I probably would feel a bit less masculine dating a woman taller than me. Just being honest, bro. I just don't think I could fully feel comfortable looking up at my girlfriend. I'm straight off that. I'm gonna be honest.
Participants were asked directly why height mattered. These were the findings. 31% of women said they wanted to feel feminine and protected. That category registered at exactly 0% for men. It was actually quite the opposite. Men cited wanting to feel dominant and mature in the more powerful position in the relationship. Shorter women and taller men had the strongest height preference of anyone in the study. They wanted the biggest gap between themselves and their partner. These aren't unconscious preferences. People know why they have them. They're just rarely examined out loud.
Some tall women are fine as fuck though. I agree, bro. There are so many tall, beautiful women. I'm just saying, in a situation where it's like, oh, this is my girl, like I'm about to wife her up, or I am wifing her up. I just don't know if that's a dynamic that I would want to be in every day. Just looking up at my girl nah, I'm straight.
But if height preferences were purely biological, we'd expect to see it everywhere, but we do not. Among Cook Islanders, roughly a third preferred couples to be the same height. In many non-Western societies, female taller couples exist at exactly by chance, meaning no preference either way, which tells you this isn't a simple East versus West story. It's about which specific norms a culture has absorbed and how connected they are to survival. Researchers suggest as long as women prefer tall men and tall men have more dating success, there's mild evolutionary pressure towards tallness. But that pressure only exists because the cultural norm exists in the first place. The main takeaway isn't that your preferences are wrong. Attraction is complicated, and nobody owes anyone a certain type. But some of what feels like instinct might actually have a script that we have inherited, and we can choose whether to keep following it or not. As gender norms shift, height preferences will...
Hey, yo, Berto, there's this girl in my school who I kind of be crushing on, but she's almost as tall as me. There's nothing wrong with that, bro. Like, guys, don't let what I'm saying taint your mind. If you like what you like, and you're like, go for it. I don't care how tall you are or how tall she is, bro. If you like what you like, go for it, man. And yeah, don't worry about my opinions.
Likely shift as well. It has already happened. So to you, my dear, I speak to you outside of this paper. With all of this research and all of these fun facts, it's more so subtle coding that we have inherited as time passed and as all of us come from somewhere with ancestors from a certain place. We are the product of all of it. So I think it's very important to ourselves to ask the questions of, just because I have this preference, does it align with my morals? I'm not saying that we should change everything about what we like about people, but I think it's very important to figure out, why is it that I just have this draw to this physical attribute? Does it come from a good place? And if it ends with I don't know, I just like it. No, you know. And there are reasons. But maybe it's time to ask, is it something that is biological? Is it something that is connected to feeling security, reminding me of something that I grew up
6'2"
up seeing a lot of, and maybe it's like tied to some sort of nostalgic moment. I think it's so important for us to dig into ourselves about our preferences without judgment. You know, if you're analyzing yourself in private, do it as shamelessly as you can, while there are no other eyes on you and no one's perception or principles.
Would I rather date a dwarf or a tall girl? Oh my God. I think I'd rather date a tall girl, bro. Chat, y'all on bullshit, bro. But if it's a would you rather, I would rather date a tall girl.
Reflecting onto your reason of what your preferences are. I say, if we want to take a step closer to being a better partner for our future partners or current partner, it's very, very important for us to understand, what am I biologically attracted to? What am I culturally attracted to? What am I societally attracted to? I think these are all very good questions that we can ask ourselves, if you need to, in secret. And maybe with enough analyzing on your own, you'll reach a point in a place of where you might find shame. But like I said, it's up to you whether you want to keep following it or not. So don't run away from yourself in this process. Accept it. And once you have, ask that part of yourself, is it something you want to change? Is it something that you are proud of? What is a version of that, of where you can make peace with it. So yeah, that is my video today about
video, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. At the end of the day, if you like what you like, there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, to just completely cut somebody out of your dating pool just because of something as superficial as height, I do think that's wrong. Again, you can have your preferences and you could do whatever the fuck you want. It's your life at the end of the day. But, you know, when we're really having the conversation and let's say you meet somebody and, you know, they're nice to you, you guys have good chemistry, they make you feel good, you feel safe around them. And I'm talking to my guys and women here, you know what I'm saying? Just partners in general. They have all the qualities of a partner that you would, you know, really want out of your significant other. I would say definitely don't let something like height be the reason y'all don't make it work. Love y'all, appreciate y'all. Where you at, family? Tap into the Twitch stream so you never miss a live reaction. And if you didn't know, 29 years old. Let's get right back into it and
Where you at, Berto? I made this shit look too easy.